Hi, this is Mark Cunningham, and we are back with another edition of Beacon Weekly. I'm back with our CEO, Justin Owen. Justin, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me back. I missed last week. I apologize.
It's okay. We'll let you go on that one. So a lot of things have gone on this week, but the one thing that you've been working on a lot that we want to start talking about is home sharing.
Right.
So can you kind of give the people of Nashville and the state of Tennessee an update on what's going on with that? Because there's been a lot of confusion. There's some stuff in Nashville, some stuff statewide.
Right.
Just talk about what's happening with home sharing currently.
So ultimately, this is where you can use Airbnb or HomeAway, services like that to rent out your home. And a lot of people have helped make ends meet. They've either gotten sick and needed to supplement their income because they couldn't work, or they've just not had a great income and this allowed them to do better in life, or they retired and wanted to extend their retirement by renting out a room in their home or a second home they had. Fortunately, some cities across the state have reasonable regulations on this. We do believe cities should be able to limit it for noise and nuisance and trash and parking violations. If you're having party homes, we should shut those down. But unfortunately, cities like Nashville have just gone and now outright banned it in most instances. And so I do think that the state legislature is now taking a look. There was some discussion about that last year before Nashville banned it, but the state said, okay, we'll watch and see what you do. If you do something reasonable, we'll let you continue to regulate it. Unfortunately, the city of Nashville said, well, we're just going to ban it outright, even though we know that we might get overridden. So I do think that you'll see the state legislature weighing in on this in the next couple of weeks.
And it's an issue of property rights too, because like when you talk, you said home sharing is basically you have your home or you own a home and you're letting people rent that out for a short period of time.
It'd be preposterous if we were talking about banning long-term renters, that you couldn't rent your house monthly or yearly, yet we're talking about it for any time under 30 days. And so it's just unfair. They're not treating people the same, and they're not focused on what matters the most. Again, if you're having parties all the time, you've got noise violations, things like that, you should be able to stop someone from renting their home out. But if they're a law-abiding citizen, they shouldn't be punished just because there are a few bad actors.
Basically put the same rules you put on long-term rentals in terms of like if you
Exactly.
have noise violations, you get in trouble. It's the same idea. Okay, so shifting gears a little bit, you actually sent this to me in the email, but there's a new study from AEI, the American Enterprise Institute, that showed kind of the states that people are moving from and moving to. And Tennessee was one of the top five states of people moving to the state, along with a couple other southern states there. And the states where people were moving away from included like New Jersey, Illinois, Connecticut, places like that. So tell me why you think the migration from kind of the Northeast and the Midwest down to the southern states like Tennessee, why is that happening?
Because we're awesome on a lot of fronts, right? We've got right-to-work laws, which makes it easier for people to earn a living without having to fork over half their money to the government or to the union. We have no income tax as a state, and now truly no income tax once we get rid of the hall tax, which will allow people to keep more of their money. And so it's great for the economy, it's great for business, it's great if you want to start a business, it's great to raise a family. And so people are moving from those states where they're crippled by taxes, they're crippled by regulation, and they want to be freer. And I think that people vote with their feet, and this is an example of why states like Tennessee, who have low taxes, low debt, and essentially allow people to be free and prosper, this is an attractive place for people to come. So we just got to keep it up, right? Other states are going to create more competition. They're going to continue to lower their taxes and regulations, and we need to keep it up. We don't need to rest on our laurels. So hopefully we'll continue to be an attractive place for people to come.
So Tennessee is awesome, except in maybe stadium subsidies. That seems to be one area where the state has not been great. I mean, in a lot of
we're awesome if you like stadium subsidies, right?
If you like losing money and paying for soccer teams, and it's a great state for you. But the issue is that we give a lot of money to different stadium subsidies as a state and on the city and county level.
That's right.
And one of the issues that has come up, that there's a new report yesterday from Times Free Press in Chattanooga, is that this Chattanooga Lookout Stadium seems to be happening. They seem to be going to go through this. They're going to take a lot of taxpayer money, likely to do it. And to me, it seems like this plan has been hatched from the start. I mean, there's a report, a state sanctioned report that said, oh yeah, this is going to create $1.1 billion of revenue. I mean, just talking about that situation, because the people here know about it, but talking about some of the things that have happened recently.
Yeah, so the poor Lookouts, their stadium is all 18 years old, which, I mean, who could imagine playing in an 18-year-old stadium? It's going to fall down, right?
50% going up, right?
That's right, and they can't even fill it as is, but they want to move into another area of Chattanooga and build a new stadium that's at least partially taxpayer funded. We got criticized when we first came out against this and said they're going to to try to use public money, at the very least, taxpayers should get to vote on that in a public referendum. Some of the local media down there criticized us, saying, well, you don't know what you're talking about. There's no call for public money. Yet here we are calling for public money to do this. And so we still believe ultimately we should not be funding millionaires and billionaires to fund their private sports stadiums. But if we do, if the politicians believe so strongly that the taxpayers want this, put it up for a vote and let them decide. There's a bill in the state legislature that would require these types of stadium subsidies to go to a public referendum. We're watching that, and I think that ultimately the people of Chattanooga deserve to have their voice heard on this, and hopefully they'll get a chance to do so.
And what do you think about the argument that the Lookouts owner makes, saying, "Oh, the taxpayers, they're not smart enough to vote on this. We need the politicians to vote. There's no reason for referendum." I mean, that's essentially what he said. Is that politicians know better?
If they're not smart enough to vote on it, then they're not smart enough to pay for it. How about that? So if you're the only one that's smart enough to know what to do with this, then use your own money to do it.
Yep, that's absolutely right. And who knew that the Chattanooga media should know that you're Miss Clea? You can read into the future. You knew it was going to happen, but they didn't listen.
Shock of all shocks, right?
So that's all we have for this week. We will be back with you in 2 weeks, though, and we'll see you later.